Look forward to hearing from you next week.
All right, take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
John is a past school administrator. He was he was in charge of BOCES, one of them, and he pinch hits as a as a superintendent of schools. Whenever somebody needs one for a while, he jumps in and does it. And he's quite a guy. He's been on the show off and on for many years, and he hosts it part of the time when I'm away. So you can't beat that, Randy, can you?
I got a question.
What's that?
You might know. Now, when you go up Pikes Peak, I was out in Denver, went to a wedding in Cheyenne. My cousins went up, and they come down, they get some kind of sickness. Is it motion sickness or something with a...
Homesickness, probably. I don't know.
Something with a difference in the air pressure. I know he said when he came down, he got... it's not the bends, I know that. What you get from diving. Scuba diving, yep.
Yeah. But I'm sure he... I don't know what he had. Maybe he just had a faintness from all that climbing around and everything. I don't know.
He drove up and he says when you come down, you get some kind of a sickness.
Okay, well, back to our own little place here. We have another great boat. Now I want you to tell us about the Sea Lion. Very few people have even heard of it or know about it who are not local people. And there is it's on display, actually. It's like a museum now down in Barcelona. Tell us, what is the Sea Lion?
The Sea Lion's replica of a 16th century sailing ship, built the original way they built them back then by Ernie Cowan.
Okay.
We built it just down the road from Mayville and Hartfield on Sea Lion Drive, and stayed on Chautauqua Lake for...
Well, now I understand the metalwork in that was put up by Gibbons over in...
from what I've heard.
Yeah, and he's an old-fashioned blacksmith. He gets out there and pounds that metal up. And he did until finally I think his elbow went out, or his shoulder or something, because hitting iron with a big sledgehammer, I mean, it's a handheld hammer, but it's a big one, is quite a strain on your system, I'll tell you. And I want to know this, I want you to know this, he put in a lot of time and effort for free. He just donated. And the anchor, for instance, and some of the metalwork here in the front and on the side, and it actually has little ports for cannons in it, as I recall. It wasn't a huge boat, but it's a gorgeous boat. And so, anyway, you continue. Now, they started, Cowan, who was Ernie Cowan?
Ernie Cowan used to be Chautauqua County Sheriff.
Oh, did he?
And I'm not sure now if his dad originally got the idea to build the boat, but Ernie Cowan got a hold of John Cheney. John hid the wood for it, the white pine, I think it is.
It has to be pine, does it?
And I love the story because when Ernie Cowan came to John's door...
You got to get closer to me, remember?
Ow! Well, when Ernie came to John Cheney's house, he had a sheriff's uniform on, and first thing John's wife said is, uh-oh, what'd John do now? So they got together and got the wood when they were building the bridge. I guess John owned that area there. And so they took it up to the Lions lumber mill, which is up, I think, where you get leaks.
Yep, that's right. Well, it's just past Lions Road. They used to be on the bottom of Lions Road. Lions Road goes right down to the creek. And they were right on the creek. And I suspect they probably used water power or something one time. And they had a Lions mill there right up until, I don't know, the mid-50s or 60s. And then they put it up on the Sherman-Westfield Road, right on the road, near Jones Road, if you know where that is. But you just drive from Westfield to Sherman on Sherman Road, Chestnut Street in Westfield, and you'll see it on your left. But at Lions Road, which is just before you hit the mill, if you hit the mill, you've gone too far, on the corner there and back on the Westfield side of Lions Road, you will see an ocean of leaks. There are many such oceans, but that's the one that I like to visit because the owners gave me permission. And incidentally, leaks have indeed been determined a threatened species by the DEC. There are not enough leaks around. So at this point, you can't just walk up and grab some leaks like you used to in the good old days. You've got to ask permission of the owner of the leaks. Isn't that silly?
That is...
That's a threatened species.
It's a New York thing, isn't it? New York City?
And I think the guy, the DEC guy who determines what's a threatened species or whatever, I think he lives in a $10 million apartment over, probably over the park there And he looks down into the park and he says, "Holy mackerel, I don't see any leaks. Must be threatened."
Oh, it's crazy. But so yeah, they got the wood cut up there, but it was built original. And what happened was it was at Chautauqua Lake for several years. Takes 2 miles to turn the sea lion with the rudder they have on it. So they had a big problem on the lake. I guess they would sail it one way and tow it back. And
How far to turn it?
2 miles, I heard.
To turn it around.
Turn it around.
I'll be darned.
So something happened back in the 90s, and one of those, I guess, 3 people in a room deals, and they sent it to Buffalo. There was a lot of lawsuits, but they didn't win out. So, well, Buffalo was promised all kinds of this and that. You know, they're going to take it to New York City. Well, it didn't work. It stayed in Buffalo. I guess it had 3 different homes in there. Well, finally, in 1999, it was tied to its moorings. And from what I can see, it's a big shipping canal, and there's a railroad tracks, and it sank in the winter. They don't really know if the ice pulled it under.
It just sank, huh?
If it had help, but I guess it sank. And
good Lord.
you know, there's a lot of people up here in Mayville, if you're watching, that helped build the Sea Lion ship, and if you know, maybe you could call in and help me. I've read a lot about it and heard some of the history, but well, 1992 they took it to Buffalo. In 1999 it sank. I think it was 2000. After a lot of work and dedication, they had to take all the ballast out of it, which was re-rod, railroad tracks. I forgot how many ton of that was in there before they could raise it. They raised it up.
I mean, the divers had to go down and pull.
They had to go, and I mean, it was tight corners. One wrong move, and it's going to fall on you. And they were able to chain it up, and they somehow put flotation devices, raised it up. They were able to tow it back to Barcelona, where I fell in love with it. I'd only seen it, I think, go by my house when I lived in DeWittville years ago on the way to Barcelona. So I used to scuba dive, and I sort of fell in love with the Sea Lion ship because it was like really neat, but it looked terrible. I mean, just horrible. Well, it took about 3 years. I got my interest a couple years before I started restoring it. I went up to the Patterson Library. They have a huge folder on all the old information on the Sea Lion ship, and
it's an imitation of
it's a
very old ship,
sort of like the Pinta. That's the size of the Pinta,
Columbus's ship.
Columbus's ship,
yeah.
And so it's, you know, it's really neat. I got this information. I got to meet Billy Dibble back then, and she
quite a gal.
She got me into the file on the Sea Lion, and from there I would never know who was working on it. You could tell once in a while somebody was up there. Well, 2003 I connected with, I just happened to get up there on a Tuesday night and they were working on it. And after that it was like from the end of August till end of December, we were up there almost every day working on the Sea Lion, putting it back together, and it was like a big Rubik's Cube. We didn't have any diagrams or anything. I remember John picking up a big section, like, wonder where this goes. And we somehow we got it back together.
It's beautiful.
We painted it.
It's painted still, and it's got concrete. I don't know what you call them, on the side blocks to hold it up and properly.
Yeah, it's got a cradle they built.
It's a cradle. That's what I meant to say.
I guess they built that real quick when they got it up there. But when I first worked on it, I was working underneath scraping for paint, and it was a few days before I actually got up there. Well, I get up on the ladder, go up, and get to the top of it. It's like, how do I step over this ladder? It's high. So I finally got up there, and it was just as bad coming down. But after a while, it got to be where you had little sideboards on it. You go out there and hold on and work on it.
And you painted everything, top to bottom.
Painted it all. We replaced a lot of wood. We did scraping. It was a year of yellow jackets. We'd scrape behind the ribs, which are boards that go down, and next thing you know, you'd be knocking a yellow jacket's nest off and dancing on them. It was chilly, sort of cool, so they weren't too active. But I think it was the first year the ladybugs attacked too.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh, the ship was just plastered with them. We painted more ladybugs than the ship. But we did get it back together.
I'll have to look.
We did get it back together, and a few years later, the Amish, we have an Amish group that painted it for us again. They did a lot better. The wood, some of the fresh wood, the paint didn't stick to too well, so we got it back together, and
well, it's you did get it back there. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful, and it sits there idly. Nobody even knows about it. I see tourists once in a while come over.
A lot of people. When we were working on it, we had people there just taking pictures and talking to us. And I took 4 people. I took 3 of the 4 people from Indiana. And one time they were deaf and dumb, and it was just hand signals and writing, and they just enjoyed the whole ship itself. And but they were just coming through, and I see people writing, and then John introduced me to them, and I took them up on the ferry, or on the sea line, don't get me mixed up. And they had a tour.
Yeah, well, there is a tour building right there where people will tell people about Westfield and about the whole area.
Oh,
really.
That's beautiful.
And it's just a tourist shop, and they give away free Welches or free drinks and snacks too. I'm
like a little kid in that place because I'm a kid in a toy store.
Yeah.
I'm where brochures are, and it's something when I started traveling, I go in there and I'll collect brochures.
But why not?
Well,
we have a couple phone calls.
Okay.
Let's take a call. Good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning, Reed. How are you?
Wonderful. What's up?
I've seen posters around about something with the ferry. It's a dinner dance or something like that. I was wondering if your guest would be able to help elaborate on that. And
Dinner dance on the ferry.
The dinner dance is going to be
back to the ferry now from the sea line.
Yep.
We're back to.
Try to get confused with all these boats because for a while we had the Chautauqua Belle. It's going to be the 23rd of July. It's 2 weeks after the bicentennial, and it's a dinner dance at the casino in Bemis. It's $40 per person. They're going to have a Chinese auction, buffet dinner, ferry rides, and it runs from I think 6 or 6:30 to 11 or 11:30 at night, which is be out there riding a ferry in the dark is just awesome. You don't even feel like you're moving. But going to have one of my old teachers from Faulkner High School, Raz and Friends, Ralph Rasmussen. He was a band director down there when I went to school. He's going to be there, so I'm excited just to get to see him again.
He's going to have a band?
He's got a group. It's Raz and Friends. I'm not sure how many are in it. I think he was good for either the clarinet or the trumpet back in but he had me for a student, and I just have no musical brain. So I bombed out real fast. I could learn an instrument. I don't know. You see these notes, and it's like, yeah. So, but they're going to have a big dinner. We're planning on 325 people. It's going to have a cash bar for whoever drinks.
And this is a fundraiser.
This is a fundraiser for the bicentennial and the ferry. It'll keep the ferry.
What's the date again?
July 23rd.
July 23. Was that as Friday, Saturday?
It's Saturday.
Saturday of July 23.
It's 2 weeks after the bicentennial.
And it's a dinner.
Dinner
and
dancing.
Dance and wonderful things, and it's only $40, right?
$40
that
per
includes
person.
A nice donation for the
that's a donation
for the ferry and company.
So it's
6:30 in the evening.
The ferry bicentennial is going to be pretty awesome. We've been working on it for like 18 months to 2 years now, and it's hard to believe. When I first started, I put a counter on a website. It was I think 580 days or something, and now it's down to 2 weeks.
Ticking down and
less than 2 weeks. You never expected it to happen. We met pretty much once a month in the town of North Harmony. Sally Carlson there, she was just she's a gem to the area. She'd open up the doors for us, and she's one of our members, and I'm thinking she was there because she's got her head together, which I don't.
It should be a hell of a celebration.
Oh,